After being appointed, I attended Louisiana Rural Water Alliance in-service for plant managers, office managers, board presidents, members, where I learned an abundance of information pertaining to water and sewer operations. Since that appointment in 2019, there have been several changes remaining to the board members' positions, which are now occupied by Mr. Oscar Toops and Ms. Carla Gagliano. This board has worked diligent and hard, and together we have worked to give the personnel at the water plant the tools and the resources they need to ensure safe water for the citizens of Syracusaville and Amelia. The board worked along with Brian Tabor, our plant manager. We have saved the commission hundreds of thousands of dollars through the years on multiple projects. One being the lift station by Morgan City Electric. Yeah, it took a little long to do it, but many studies and projects, it was originally going to cost $300,000. After Mr. Bryan and the board got together, he heard of a company that would do it instead of relocating the lift station. They would jet around the original lift station, pour cement, recoat it. Cost us $20,000. The $280,000 savings. I think that's pretty good by the board and Mr. Bryan. There have been no issues throughout the years of service with this current board. Since 2019, no problems. This brings us to us here tonight. Mr. Duhon wanted to remove 3 of the 5 board members. The reason there are only 3 board members being voted on to remove is because he presented Mr. Leroy Trim and Mr. Oscar Toops with letters of resignation, which they signed because they were told by Mr. Duhon that everyone was resigning. And I spoke to them personally, and that's what they told me. He also showed them additional letters of resignation with my name, Mr. Kenneth Meir, and Carla Gagliano. So they believed him and they signed it. It was very disturbing to hear that Mr. Toops and Mr. Trim resigned because they were great men who I enjoyed working with over the years in respect. Mr. Duhon also contacted Ms. Carla Gagliano and gave her an ultimatum. Either get off the board by signing this letter of resignation the easy way, or be taken off the hard way by being removed. She contacted me. I left it up to her. She refused to sign. He never contacted myself and Mr. Kenneth Meir. The reason Mr. Duhon wants to remove all of us from the board is because the board has been working on a very difficult decision on rate increases. The board has been working on rates since December 2022, which was a necessity to make sure we have funding to operate and maintain water and sewer plants to ensure production of safe water for the citizens and businesses of Amelia and Syracusaville. He disagreed with this increase. Like Mr. Bryan alluded to earlier, not to get back into all these why, but the reasons for the increase: decrease in ad valorem taxes, cost of the chemical costs and products, inflation rates. Questions that you already answered and may have further answers later. You can hear tonight a petition has been circulating, promoted by Mr. Duhon. Of course, when you give one side of the story and give information and negativity, you could get people to sign. Why not buy water from Morgan City? Brian did the minor numbers. Yeah, could maybe look at it in depth, but over the overall look, is no real cost savings. It wouldn't be wise to spend close to $2 million on a plant refurb and then turn around and start buying water from Morgan City and have this brand new plant refurb sitting there for taxpayers' money. Talking about taxes and wasting money. Different chemical companies is a question. Same chemical company that serves Water and Sewer Commission #1 is the same one that serves Morgan City and multiple other water districts in this parish. We have different water from other districts. It's a lot harder water to treat. If some of these people that was at the meeting the other night, we had representatives from the chemical company come to explain the differences between Centerville, Morgan City, and Amelia treatment. So chemical costs will be different. They're probably a lot higher because of our difficult water to treat, to make safe. Mr. Duhon complained about water losses. Ron alluded to it. Our water losses are around 18%, which is within the normal range for plants. Kudos to Centerville for having a 6%. They're not the norm. The range is from 10 to 30% across water districts. Yeah, fix the leaks. One way you fix a leak is you see the ground saturated, or someone reports it to us. If we don't see the ground saturated or reported, then how can you fix a leak? No one's reported leaks to us. We are the LRA's law to come do a water lossage study at no cost, but we're on a law. We have a list. We have other people before us. So we have a plan for that. We're looking to put meters inside industrial yards where they have long distance of running water lines from the main meter to where their usage is, and compare what they're using to where the water comes in at near the highway to see if there is a loss in between the 2 meters and where something may be going on there with lossage. Our plant refurb. Right now, these guys, the old filtration system has a backwash. That was saved on costs, okay? We had rate studies done by our plant manager, Brian Tabor, Louisiana Rural Water Alliance, and Progress Engineer, all separate studies, which all indicate an increase of 80%. We didn't increase rates 80%. With the rate recommendation of the LRWA, it was determined that we needed to have an income at a minimum of 15% above budget to be sustainable, to be considered for grants, loans, bonds, also for future necessary projects. We were under 15% with the previous low rates. There hasn't been a major rate increase in all the years of the water plant's existence. That's one reason it looks like it's such a steep increase. It's because we are some of the lowest in the state previously. So it will look like an increase when you have to catch up the times. All the water districts in Louisiana were recently graded by LDH. We received an A+ 100 points. We received a bonus of 5 points, but was also deducted 5 points for inadequate water rates to maintain sustainability. The early rate structure numbers were not agreed upon. It was about 4 months ago that we agreed upon a reasonable rate structure. Unfortunately, you had people in our community still passing the previous rate studies that were never agreed upon, but that's what they were pushing to our citizens to cause chaos and uproar. The rate structures are separated by residential and commercial, which is never done in our water district before and was recommended by Louisiana Rural Water Alliance. Brian and I and the board worked tirelessly over and over, crunching numbers to what we felt were reasonable rates. Again, not to get into the rates, water and sewer combined for the residents came up $7.50 for the first 2,000 gallons. That's 0.0035 cents per gallon, not even a penny per gallon. Water and sewer approximately 24 cents a day it costs for the resident. It's a 15% increase for 2,000 gallons or less. Not 80% that was being spread with propaganda to the citizens.
Wait, hold on, Chair.
Commercial rate water Water, $44 for the first 2,000 gallons, and sewer, $55 for the first 2,000 gallons. That's 2 cents per gallon for water for commercial rates. 3 cents per gallon for the sewer rates at a 2,000 gallon usage. About 65% of commercial at 2,000 gallon usage. Still not 80%, which was being said. Our plant manager and assistant plant manager spoke to many customers that was brought up at our meetings that had problems with our rates. They met. Mr. Brian alluded to, went to Morgan City Electric, got with the owner, gave him the accurate numbers, sat down, gave him the reasons. He's satisfied. Many residents went give them accurate numbers. The numbers that we were working towards. After they got the real numbers, they didn't have those real numbers because people gave them wrong numbers and was pushing inaccurate numbers. Numbers that we started with a proposal and was working down and chose to go out to the public and issue those numbers. The board tabled the vote on rates multiple times, given several citizens, Mr. Andrew included, Chuck Walters, Councilman Adams, Councilman Duhorn, to come meet with Brian and I. Because everything we hand them with papers, they wanted to see it. But the only way you see it is come to Brian's office on the computer and let's work the numbers. We were open to suggestions, open-minded to anything they could bring to the table. How many showed up? None. No one came. That brings us to this last Wednesday's St. Mary Water and Sewer Commission #1's meeting held at the Meade Fire Station, which I was contacted to get a bigger place. So we chose a fire station. Had about 30, I guess, citizens arrive. Council Chairwoman Dalgo, Councilman Adams, Councilman Duhorn attended the meeting. We began the meeting with public comment. And yes, I said a 3-minute time limit. Because the previous meeting we talked, and I didn't. Well, Mr. Andrew, he had over 6, 7, 8 minutes actually to speak. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't understand what he was saying when he was pointing to a newspaper. But those numbers he mentioned was earlier ran by the plant manager, assistant plant manager, and it didn't mount to what we needed to sustain this increase. After getting motions to move on the agenda, we proceed to discuss an action on decrease, what increases. By reading the rates into the record, board received many rude comments and outbursts. There were 3, the votes were 3 yes and 2 no. Myself, Mr. Kenneth Mayor, Nicole Gagliano said yes, Mr. Toops and Mr. Trim voted no. After the votes were announced, there was yelling and disorderly conduct from many. As I could continue to ask for water, Mr. Duhorn yelled, "I will let everyone know who voted for the increase, and I'm going to remove all of y'all from the board." Very inappropriate. One supporter from Mr. Duhorn yelled, "Paulo, you have it coming to you." They continued to disorderly conduct and behavior for a while until exiting the building. This was witnessed by Council Chairwoman Hidalgo and Councilman Adams. This behavior was unacceptable and called for, especially from someone who should be a leader in our community and someone who represents St. Mary Parish Council. So I ask you, the council, to do the right thing and not remove myself, Mr. Kenneth Mayer, and Ms. Carla Gagliano from the St. Mary Parish Water and Sewer Commission #1 board. Myself, Mr. Mayor, and Ms. Carla Gagliano, and Mr. Trim and Mr. Toops have worked hard to do what was best for Syracuseville and me. Mr. Duhorn has no legitimate reason to remove myself, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Carla Gagliano from the board. He has no supportive documentation to remove us. If you agree to remove us from the board tonight, then you remove us from the board merely with us doing our job we were appointed to do by the council. Thank all of you for your time and consideration pertaining to this matter.
Yeah. Wait, hey, wait, you got some question you gotta ask.
Want a
Okay,
question?
before the vote, I said, y'all do y'all action, I'm gonna take my action. I never said nothing like this, and they were not disorderly. I got the people here. Dean was there. Dean, were they disorderly?
Council
Oh.
Chairwoman was there, Council Adam was there. Yelling and screaming wasn't disorderly. I don't know what you call that then.
Some of the stuff you said was not accurate. I gotta-
Unfortunately, someone asked about a recording. We had a mishap because the recording, we moved to a fire station and our electronic recorder, mishap and didn't record.
Oh, another Debbie Tabor deal, huh?
Come on, Laura.
Okay,
What kind of-
Mr. Ramsey, you have a question?
Madam Council Chairman, thank you. I have a question. We're still in the public hearing. We haven't even started. So I'd like to make a motion, stop the discussion.
Hey, wait a minute. Madam Chairman,
Can't stop.
Madam Chairman, I got to defend myself here.
You can't stop.
You understand me? You defended yourself when they came up on you, your board members, when you asked for their resignation, Scott. Okay? This is what I did. I
Okay.
went to the two. Man,
Okay, Mr. Carlos, we done. And our
Thank
next
you.
person is Miss Bonnie Duhon.
yeah.
Yes, my name is Bonnie Duhon. I live at 10802 Runners Road, Amelia, Louisiana. I was at the last meeting and nobody screamed across the room. None of that happened. Mr. Andrew was trying to discuss his numbers. They would not even let him discuss his numbers. They started beating the hammer the whole time. Wouldn't let nobody speak. Mr. Dean was there. You was there. These people was there, Mr. Andrew was there, his wife was there. None of this happened that Mr. Carlos is talking about. Mark did not initiate this petition, which I have. He didn't initiate it. This Denise initiated it. That was also a lie. Mark did not tell Mr. Trim nor Oscar Toots that they were signing resignation because that never happened either. I was there. So I don't know where he's getting his stories from. But I have these erroneous papers with their letterhead on it. If I could present this to the board. They said these are erroneous numbers that they started. The only reason they got stopped is because people found out about it. For the whole lot. Found out.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Ms. Duhon is passing that out. I just went and talked to, I had a phone call with Mr. Leroy Trim just now when I walked out, and Mr. Trim said